in Belfast as the Belfast bus hijacked and petrol bombed as tensions rise in Northern Ireland. I'm a little worried about showing some of this video footage.
They were running amok on Shankill Road in Belfast. These teenagers petrol bombing a bus with the driver still on board. Northern Ireland's First Minister...
Holy shit, dude. Okay, I'll show you that. Hold on.
They were
no
running
one died,
amok on Shankill Road in Belfast. These teenagers petrol bombing a bus with the driver still on board. Northern Ireland's First Minister condemned it as attempted murder. The Prime Minister said he was deeply concerned by the violence. But this community's given up on politics and policing. Sinister elements are exploiting the youth, and police are under attack.
This is not the fault of the front line.
These are loyalists, not Republicans.
Police officer. This is a failure of politics, and I believe there are questions to be asked at the most senior level in policing about their ability to lead in a consistent manner. You know, and the only thing that should govern policing is the rule of law.
So why the fuck are the loyalists doing this shit? These kids have been manipulated and threatened by loyalist drug gangs. Loyalists realize Westminster doesn't actually care for them. Because of the soft border between Ireland and the UK.
Tension's been simmering for months over the Brexit protocol. But a decision not to prosecute anyone for breaches of COVID regulations at an IRA funeral was the tipping point. In the loyalist heartlands, they're losing faith in the peace process. Stacey Graham, a community activist, says nothing ever seems to change.
This community has been left behind. We still have high levels of multiple deprivation. We're still living in poverty. Educational underachievement is a massive issue. We have really poor mental health. And people just feel really left behind and disconnected from mainstream.
Wait, so the argument... So it's like if fucking conservatives were mad that like there was a funeral that happened, like a Democratic funeral where people were able to attend, and they decided to like literally firebomb shit as a consequence of like chuds got mad, not because they wanted to reopen, but literally because they fucking were upset that someone else was able to put together a gathering. The loyalists did the same thing? No, that's what I'm talking about. That's
Extreme politics.
Dale Pankhurst says he understands the anger, but wants young people to make the choice he did. Politics, not violence.
People are hugely frustrated. They're sick, sore and tired of this. But there is a way to change it. That's the message that I must say. If you engage, if you empower yourself, if you educate yourself, you then in turn empower and engage your community. And that can make the real difference.
Brexit always posed a risk here. Republican violence in the event of a land border.
I don't understand the fucking argument that loyalists make regardless. Like, brother, you're not English. Like, they don't consider you to be English, right? Am I crazy? Like, you're literally arguing, you're advocating to be second-class citizen in a country that has left you behind, okay, in an area where, like, oh, this is to British, never mind. They think they're British? Isn't it mostly a religious thing? Literally just malding Protestants who want to get stepped on. I know that they consider themselves British. I understand that, but... And some of them literally fucking immigrated there, but... Like... It doesn't matter. Brexit now happened. It's just like... England gave up all interest in Northern Ireland in 1990 W. One year I visited my mom and came back with a Northern Irish GBP. Their stores wouldn't take them in Britain and gave no reason. Not English, British, but now we really are totally leaving them to be a second-class British. Loyalists would be second class if there was a united Ireland? I just don't understand the interest in cucking yourself aggressively this way. I don't get it.
Or loyalist violence in the event of a sea border. It's rocked the fragile peace.
You really are one-sided? Yes, I'm literally one-sided on this issue. Can you explain this in American terms for me? This is the... It's like they're... Oh, fuck, this is gonna piss people off, but these are the conservatives that basically are like the Uncle Donny, the Uncle O'Sullivan of the Irish, and some are British, that are saying like, oh no, we want to fucking have this little covenant that is still a part of yeah, there's like pro-British occupation. Republicans, on the other hand, in Ireland want a unified Ireland. The loyalists are the ones who like the United Kingdom and want to remain a part of the UK.
The fact that society here is still divided by walls like this one points to a failure of politics. For all the hope of the Good Friday Agreement, there has been precious little reconciliation. And for as long as one side is deemed to be winning and the other losing, there will always be potential for civil unrest. It's against this backdrop, scenes reminiscent of the past, that Stormont leaders...
Loyalists were happy to have nationalist Catholics as second-class citizens for the first almost 80 years of Northern Ireland's existence. Now they feel oppressed because they don't have sole control over the state anymore. I can't describe it in nopixel RP. They want to remain a part of the UK to occupy Ireland. Republicans want the 6 counties back and want Ireland to be an entire country on its own. Yes. Why do people keep saying you don't understand and then they fucking describe the exact same thing that I've already described? I mean, my understanding is like, my understanding of the situation is super fucking surface level, but
leaders are under pressure to demonstrate a political alternative.
why are you using Sky News as a news source on this? It's totally unreliable and right-wing. Brother, I'm not biased towards fucking the loyalist position, so it doesn't matter. It's just a fucking way to... Oh God. I use Fox News as a resource too. Like, I don't understand. I recognize the biases and I still speak out against it. So what the fuck do you want from me? What is this random person?
Guys, I just wanted to get on camera and explain to a lot of people that don't know what's going on here, what's actually going on. So basically, what's been happening in Northern Ireland is loyalists, who are people that really want Northern Ireland to stay part of the United Kingdom, have been getting very violent, attacking police officers, attacking public transport, as you saw in the videos that I've been posting, and rioting in the streets. The main reason for this is because
they're protesting a deputy first minister not adhering to her COVID guidelines to attend a terrorist funeral. Okay. Secondly, Jesus Christ. Secondly, then see border in the NL protocol or NI protocol, which alienates them from Britain. Thirdly, the police didn't prosecute anyone who attended the funeral. Oh shit, dude. I guess then you should become. I guess you should firebomb people. That's like a pretty good retaliation when you get upset. Yeah, firebombing a bus driver, I think, is the smart way to maneuver when you're upset that a leader is not following COVID restrictions.
You've probably all heard of Brexit. Brexit is what the English are doing because Northern Ireland didn't vote for Brexit. We voted to remain, but globally across the 4 nations of the United Kingdom, the vote was to leave. So Boris Johnson and the English government...
By the way, I literally, it is top of the hour. I'm not going to like fucking literally play Black and Tans right now. I know the history behind it for the person who's saying the ad break song is about the office of the British Death Squad, Black and Tans, who shot up a soccer game in an incident known as Bloody Sunday. I am aware.
Are taking all of us out of the European Union, and in order to do that and maintain In order to do that and maintain peace in Northern Ireland, what they've had to do is pretty much create a customs border in the Irish Sea, which means basically that you're going to have customs checks from bringing anything from Scotland, England or Wales into Northern Ireland. And this was the only way to avoid making a hard border between the north and the south, which would have caused another Irish civil war. And as a response to this, hardline people that really want Northern Ireland to stay seamlessly connected to the rest of the United Kingdom are now turning to violence. And it's fucking terrifying, because all you need to do is either watch Derry Girls, which is very much factual, and go back and research the Northern Irish Troubles, which killed 3,000 people between the 1960s and the 1990s. We are very much in danger of falling back into that, and the British media do not care. The British media are not reporting on it whatsoever. They're reporting things about tabloids and celebrity news instead. And it's fucking terrifying. So that's what's going on in Northern Ireland at the minute. If anybody has any questions, please pop me a DM and I will try my best to explain the situation.
Why would it cause a civil war? Why are they so certain of this? I don't know, because it already did not that long ago either. I mean, that's why people are fucking upset about it. It literally happened very recently, as she also described. It's a handheld milk jug. It's a eggnog stress ball. Okay.
In Northern Ireland have condemned the rioting that's raged in Belfast for 6 nights, but criticised each other about the underlying causes. Police were attacked, petrol bombs were thrown, and a bus was set on fire last night. In total, 55 police officers have been injured in the violence. The conflict in...
I, for one, am kind of upset. I think, look, we can go back and forth about whether Irish are POC or not. But what's happening right now, folks, is cultural appropriation, okay? It is. That's our thing. Our thing is civil wars, okay? You just, get your own thing, Ireland. Chill the fuck out. We are the ones who are supposed to have the hogs and the AR-15s and shooting one another. Get your fucking own thing. What do you think you're doing, okay? What do you think you're doing? It's my culture, not your prom dress, okay? Speaking of which, it's top of the hour every hour. It's time for a 60-second ad break right now, ladies and gentlemen. If you no longer want to see the ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do it for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. You get 1 free Prime subscription a month. You can divert that by using your fucking Twitch Primes on me, your favorite streamer. There it is. Here it is, boys. Here it fucking is.
In Northern Ireland goes back to the late 1960s. It's centred on religion and the area's status. Unionist parties, who represent mainly the Protestant community, believe it should remain part of the United Kingdom. But nationalist parties, who are mainly Roman Catholic, believe it should leave the UK and unite with the Republic of Ireland. A conflict between the two communities, known as the Troubles, started in the 60s and cost the lives of more than 3,500 people. On the 10th of April 1998, the Good Friday Agreement was signed between the UK government, the Irish government and Northern Ireland political parties. It set up a power-sharing government in Belfast, with the Republic having some say in areas like farming and health. The following month, a referendum was held on both sides of the Irish border for people to decide whether or not they wanted the agreement. The result was a resounding yes, and peace was restored. Chris Page has this report on Wednesday night's riots in West Belfast.
The barrier, which is commonly known as a peace line, was anything but peaceful last night. The wall was built many years ago to try to stop clashes between politically divided communities in West Belfast. But there was trouble on both sides as crowds threw petrol bombs, fireworks and bricks. The violence began on the Loyalist Shankill Road, where protesters had gathered. A bus was hijacked and set on fire. There were no passengers on board, but the driver was said to be very shaken. Then, across the Peace Wall in the Springfield Road area, Republican youths rioted. Community representatives tried to calm the situation.
It's sad to see this. We're trying to appeal to these young people that this isn't the answer. They shouldn't be engaging in violence, sectarian violence. It's only a matter of time, I feel, before someone gets seriously hurt.
People in Northern Ireland had hoped that scenes of destruction like this
Roadmen
belonged
rioting
well in the past. But today, as the debris and damage from last night has cleaned up, the question is, does the violence of the last week have the potential to escalate?
My appeal to those that wish to organise...
Guys, Irish Republican is the opposite of American Republican, okay? Don't get triggered by the word Republican. Irish Republicans are the opposite of United States Republicans. The literal opposite.
disorder is not to do it. It will be the subject of investigation, and it serves no purpose. Nobody wants to see the scenes that we have seen.
The Irish Republicans aren't even like fucking American libs. Like, they're literally fucking OP. Like, they're leftists, okay? Some of them are Marxist-Leninists. -1 fail RP, dude. Why are they... What?
Last night, we now have a new generation of children and young people who have been exposed to things that they won't have seen previously.
Understanding Order 11, I have summoned the Assembly to meet today.
Police briefed ministers in the devolved government this morning, and the Stormont Assembly returned early from its Easter break to discuss the issues.
There can be no place in our society for violence or the threat of violence, and it must stop. Just as it was wrong in the past and was never justified, so it is wrong now and cannot be justified.
As political leaders, we must stand united in appealing to all concerned to refrain from further threats or use of...
In Turkey, for example, the Republican Party is also the Social Democratic Party. The Republican Party in Turkey is also the Social Democratic Party, like the left adjacent or liberal party for the most part.
...of violence, and recognise that it's only through democratic politics that we can solve our problems and concerns.
Both Boris Johnson and the Irish Prime Minister Micheál Martin have condemned the violence. It's been the most sustained period of unrest on the streets in Northern Ireland for some time. Only small areas have been affected so far, but many people in this part of the UK are feeling a new and yet familiar sense of concern. Chris Page, BBC News, Belfast.
Well, earlier I spoke to Jonathan Powell, former British chief negotiator on Northern Ireland at the time of the Good Friday Agreement. Here's what he had to say about the violence.
Well, not all the riots have been simmering for some time. The riots are engaged in by criminal elements who are using very young children as young as 12 and 13. But the underlying political problems really date back to Brexit. The problem was Brexit was always going to hurt one community's rights. If we leave the EU, there had to be a border somewhere. It could be on the island of Ireland, which would hurt nationalists and Republicans, or in the Irish Sea, which would hurt unionists. And that's led to unionists getting angry, particularly because the implementation of it has led to real problems in terms of supermarkets and supplies coming in. So it's coming from that, and then it's coming from the DUP, the Unionist Party, who called on the head of the police to resign after he allowed a Republican funeral to go ahead despite the COVID rules. So you've got this simmering tension, and it's very sad to see this kind of violence on the street again.
I mean, this is obviously a very complex situation, and you know all about the troubles all too well. I mean, are we seeing a situation where we're rolling back to the past?
No, I don't think this will.
Yeah, the worst part... Okay, so the worst part about this entire situation, which everyone fucking saw was going to inevitably happen as a consequence of Brexit, is that, like fucking... Okay, maybe not half, but a solid chunk of the people that fucking voted for this to happen, literally, are dead now. Because they were, like, 95 years old. So, good luck to the UK. Good luck to everyone in Ireland. But, like, motherfuckers in England were like, oh yeah, bro, Brexit means Brexit, bro. Boris, bro, we're gonna fucking do Brexit, bro. Nigel Farage. And then they fucking fucked off and died. Okay? And now And now they're just like left with the situation where there is a border between there's a border between them, and a barrier between them and the fucking country that they so desperately want to remain a part of. Great, good stuff.
Will take us back into the troubles, but I do think that politicians are playing with matches. This is the time of year in Northern Ireland when, as the evenings grow longer, you can get into sustained rioting. We often have in the past. And now you have the two communities attacking each other again, which happened last night. This could take off in a very ugly way. I really do think it's incumbent on the political leaders in Northern Ireland to come together and to actually do the right thing to stop this. They can do that.
The person who said Northern Ireland voted to leave, by the way, is wrong. Like, you're literally completely wrong. Even motherfuckers in Northern Ireland voted to remain. 56% of Northern Ireland voted to remain in the referendum. So, like, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That was a troll? Only Wales and England voted to leave. Water cannons are being deployed. Biden will unite Ireland. We voted to remain, lost the majority. Yeah, well, you lost because of. I mean, I mean, here it is. Am I like misunderstanding this here?
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention, please. As counting officer for the Northern Ireland voting area, at the referendum held on the 23rd of June 2016 under the European Union Referendum Act 2015, and having been authorised to do so by the Chief Counting Officer, I hereby...
A little weird to hear IRA called leftist given Northern Ireland is religiously conservative. Motherfucker, it's Ireland. A lot of it is religiously conservative. They're fucking either Catholics or Protestants. Both of them have religious conservatism. Bro, they literally just fucking recently allowed abortion to happen. Like 2 years ago. Yeah. You can be a fucking religious Marxist, okay?
Give notice that I have certified the following. The total number of ballot papers counted was 790,523. The number of votes cast in favour of Remain was 440,707. The number of votes cast in favour of Leave was 349,442. The number of ballot papers rejected was as follows. No official mark, 18. Both answers voted for, 148. Writing or mark by which the voter could be identified, 1. Unmarked or void for uncertainty, 207. And the total number of ballot papers rejected was 374. Thank you.
If they're united. It's also time for the British government to get involved along with the Irish government and use their good offices to start dialogue rather than allowing this violence to take place. Boris Johnson's taken a week before he's even commented on it. The Irish Prime Minister has been anxious to take action. I hope the British government will take their responsibilities seriously.
I suppose the focus has been on the pandemic, but
Brother, I disagree with Chapo's take on fucking Brexit anyway. I don't know if why you think like sending me a fucking link from Chapo Trap House on Brexit is going to compel me to also they're older than me. Like, you're literally calling me a boomer and then fucking pointing out a group of people who are literally older than me in age.
once the pandemic fades, you know, the focus will have to come
because
on the
they happen to
long-term
agree with
effects
you and they're
of
like
Brexit
pro-Brexit
again.
leftists or something.
It will. Brexit is going to be a problem for Northern Ireland, and it always was going to be so. John Major and Tony Blair pointed this out during the referendum campaign. We now have the Northern Ireland Protocol, that we have the border in the Irish Sea, and it's going to have to be made to work. And I think it's very important the British government engages responsibly with the EU and making that work, and that the EU is flexible in the way that it makes some of these regulations work. The British government has approached this in the wrong way, as making it an argument with the EU, whereas actually they have a common interest in facilitating this and ensuring it does not cause problems.
I mean, do you feel that the political leaders and the police aren't doing enough?
I think the police are doing the best that they can. It is very difficult in these circumstances to deal with rioting and to deal with some of the loyalists who've been stirring it up, who are actually basically criminals. So I do have a lot of sympathy for the police. As I say, my problem is that politicians are taking really dangerous steps. This is a time of year when we know there can be trouble in Northern Ireland, and they are literally playing with matches with the gas leaking all around us. And I do hope they're going to stop and actually try and calm things down.
How is the British government widely viewed?
Well,
why the fuck are you saying we lost? They've only voted 100. They've only counted like there's 51 yeses and 128 noes so far. Oh, you're joking? Okay. And the vote counting process is literally super fucking convoluted. Like you have to every 100 votes, I think it automatically forces a recount or some shit, right? Like it's gonna be for an entire day. Like there is going to be a whole bunch of time is going to be a whole bunch of time is going to be spent here before they figure out what the outcome is. Looking at the first like 200 votes is not going to tell you anything. What's the reason for voting anti-union? You're cucked. You're super cucked.
The British government is supported by one half of the community, by the unionist community who want to remain in the United Kingdom, and disliked by the other half. But the problem with Brexit was a majority of people in Northern Ireland voted to remain in the EU, a large majority. And so they have been forced out of the EU against their will. And that's part of the trouble that we're facing in Northern Ireland now.
I mean, when you say the political leaders are playing with fire here, what exactly are they doing and saying? Or do you feel that they're not doing and saying enough?
I do think it's a wrong thing for Arlene Foster, who's the DUP leader, to be demanding that the Chief Constable, the head of the police, resign at this stage. We do not want the police being discombobulated right at the beginning of this difficult season. We need some stability in the police and everyone supporting the police. And I think there's a terrible mistake to try and undermine him.
What we're seeing, though, as you say, is frankly young children and teenagers out on the streets.
It is. This is actually much younger than we've seen before. The dissident Republicans, so the terrorist group on the other side, have been using youngish teenagers to attack people, and that caused journalists to be shot a couple of years ago. This time it's young loyalists, so from the Protestant population, and they're being used by these older men who are basically criminals to go out on the street and create this trouble. It's a very disturbing new feature.
Yeah, I mean, and I want to talk a little bit more about that. If that is something that we've seen them use as a tool, again, why isn't the police able to crack down on that?
It's very difficult. These organisations are almost like mafia-type organisations. They have a hold over the community. They can threaten people if they release information. So the police find it very hard to crack down on this kind of crime. I think there needs to be part of an effort to reach out to the people in those communities who want to take politics. They haven't been represented politically since the sad death of their leader, David Irvine, who played a key role in the negotiations of the Good Friday Agreement and subsequently. So they don't have a political voice. They need to be engaged in dialogue. And these are very deprived areas, the lowest level of educational achievement anywhere in Europe.
Okay. Great to see a totally ignorant Yank trying to comment on the issues on my island. Stick to your own realm, cuck. I'm Turkish, bro. Brexit vote by age, 18-24, 73% said remain, 27 leave, 25-35, 62% remain. Yeah, I know. I basically said only the fucking old people voted in large majorities to leave. And then they fucked off and died before they see the consequences of their vote. Okay. We are going to move to talk about your own fucking... You're not going to say Northern Irish or actually British, then talk about your own fucking issues, bruv. Talk about your own fucking issues, bruv. Oh, wait, hold on. I actually have to... How the fuck do you get away talking about the Northern Irish issues without knowing the fuck you're talking about? Okay, we got a bunch of Dan Crenshaw videos as well. There's a Ben Shabibo Marvel goes full woke, but I don't really care about that. Yeah, Norn. While they're here talking about American issues, oh no, they love that. All right for a Turk to put on a racist. Oh shit, this guy's awesome. Oh, this guy is awesome. New pet. New Irish pet. All right for a Turk to put on a racist caricature voice, huh? Yeah, dude, go cry. Go cry to the authorities that I'm doing an Irish voice. Damn, dude, conservatives are fucking awesome. Wait, this person's not conservative. Jacksepticeye hates you? What? I don't even... No, he doesn't. Literally nothing he said was conservative. No. He's not. He's not conservative. I just looked it up. Yeah, no, he's not. He's not conservative. I don't know why he's mad, though. Maybe because he's like pro-leftist or pro-Brexit. And he's mad that I'm not. No, the reason why I suspected he was conservative is because he said, all right for a Turk to put on a racist caricature voice. Huh. Which is like conservative victimhood. As an Irish person, that shit drives me insane. The pandering to us by Americans in the UK and using us as the IRA. I'm just tilted. I'm from ROI. Never mind. I'll stop being toxic. All right. Whatever. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. All right. What does Dan Crenshaw think about vaccine passports?
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Why do you hate the Irish? I love the Irish. Get the fuck out of here. Okay. We're finally watching Daniel Crenshaw. Oh, before we get to that, sorry. There's breaking news from More Perfect Union. These guys are great. More Perfect Union has obtained emails showing that Amazon privately pressured USPS to install an illegal ballot drop box during the union election in Bessemer, Alabama. The emails directly contradict public statements by USPS about the box's origins. Eric and Michael, we have not heard anything back on the install of this collection box. Amazon is reaching out again to me today about the status as they want to move quickly on this. The emails were obtained through a FOIA request by the RWDSU. Many of the exchanges have been almost entirely redacted and any mentions of Amazon officials have been removed. But here are some key findings that we've been able to glean from the FOIA. First, we learned that beginning January 8th, 1 month before the union vote begins, Amazon repeatedly calls USPS's strategic account manager to say they want to install their own box. The USPS team deliberates Amazon's request and says a private box may not be utilized. USPS then decides to install one for them. Amazon HQ would like to be kept in the loop as USPS official informs the entire national and local team. We don't know for sure, but in a series of redacted emails, it appears that over the next week, Amazon and USPS haggle over the acquisition of a box and what kind of box can be installed and how quickly it can be done. On February 3rd, a USPS official sends an email stating that it is dedicating time and effort to physically altering a collection box that would meet Amazon's needs. USPS says it is not hollowing out a box that would allow for bulk mail ballot collection. Amazon demands USPS install the box by February 7th, one day before the union vote was to begin with. USPS says it's working with Amazon to place the box in a convenient location at the Bessemer campus. As we documented with Grim Kim, Amazon had the ballot drop box installed in violation of explicit guidance from the federal government. The box is installed the evening of February 9th, late at night, under the cover of darkness.
A lot of lies throughout this process.
They want to collect they want to collect the fucking, why did you say stream title? What the fuck? Why is it Pepela? Why did you change it? I don't know who did that, but don't do that. Here, I changed it to news time.
On the second night after ballots went out in the mail, we started getting calls from workers that said, like, oh my God, they put this box up here and they're telling everybody to put their ballots in it and we're scared. We don't want to put our ballots in there. Like, who has the keys to the box? Does Amazon have them? That went up middle of the night, the second night. Amazon immediately sent out a text message that said, look, the Postal Service installed this box. We don't have keys. We've reached out to the postmaster in Bessemer. We haven't.
I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it again. Whoever changed it probably changed it because they thought I was doing the Dan Crenshaw.
Heard back. We've got
it's fine. I changed it.
Request out there, and we haven't heard back. We've put a lot of pressure on different areas trying to figure out, look, number one, did you even install this box? Or is this Amazon's cluster box? Does the Postal Service own it or not? And then who has the keys? Who actually has access to it? Because everything we're reading is showing that the Postal Service doesn't install these boxes.
Even in an apartment complex, the tenant has one and the mailman and the rent office. Who knows who has the key to that box?
More Perfect Union is really good at making these sorts of videos, by the way. Good shit.
See this box.
The tenant has one and the mailman and the rent office. Who knows who has the key to that box?
An Amazon worker asked if the NLRA was legal.
Someone had mentioned it, but that Amazon was not given permission to do it.
Amazon had kind of put this rumor out and had been telling workers, look, we're going to have a box here for you to vote in. And we were telling workers they're lying. The government said no to that. They denied that request. And the reasoning for that was, first of all, it's supposed to be a secret election. And so free from intimidation. So these ballots, they come from the government directly to the worker's home and then back to the government. Worker fills out their ballot. They put it in their mailbox. It goes back to the government.
Yeah, there's no middleman in the circumstance, and the middleman certainly cannot be literally fucking Amazon. It is a violation. It is absolutely illegal for them to do this. It's just yet another instance where Amazon can claim, oh, we're just trying to make this as easy as possible, while literally adding an additional hurdle, an intimidation tactic to suppress the vote. Will they get fined for this? I mean, what? You think Amazon is going to give a fuck? They probably already literally paid the fine off in their minds before engaging in this action. It's nothing.
The union and Amazon never sees the ballot, never sees the vote. We're not supposed to be near the vote. And so the board said basically, no, we're not going to allow you to have your own box, unaccompanied on your property. there's a lot of fears, a lot of anxiety around it. For workers, it's twofold. It's number one, if I'm a pro-union supporter and I'm putting my ballot in this box, is Amazon going to know that? Are they going to track it? Are they going to steal it? What's going to happen to my ballot once it gets here? And for those that maybe necessarily wouldn't have voted, maybe they were just kind of impartial to the idea and want to support their co-workers, but they also don't know a lot about the union. But
Hank XUC, I thought votes can't be tampered with. Brother, there's a difference between the government setting up fucking ballot boxes for the election, okay, that are still picked up by fucking government employees or local administrators, versus literally fucking Amazon tampering with an election that they want to tamper with and have tried to. Yo, this is going just like our election at Nissan. Why I was pessimistic until Biden spoke up, but now I think Biden probably produced blowback. Like, they can't play judge, jury, executioner on a fucking literal vote that is supposed to unionize their workplace that they don't want to happen. It's like if Joe Biden was picking up his own, like, but Joe Biden was picking up his own fucking votes, you know. Unofficial count is 104, 199 against, by the way. It doesn't matter. This is going to take an entire day. We're going to know by tomorrow.
But now they've got this manager that's saying, hey, I've noticed you haven't voted yet. You didn't bring your ballot to the box. You should bring it tomorrow. Bring it and put it in the box. Common sense will tell you that, like, Amazon shouldn't have access to the voting box. I mean, where ballots are being held.
H. Bizzle doesn't think that this is going to happen. They wanted to pressure employees to bring ballots to work so they'd receive they'd received at home in the mail. By doing this, they could then pressure and monitor employees to submit no votes. Anyway, so it was threatening them basically. Petrol bombs. Okay. Okay, Dan Crenshaw here. I'll tweet out that I am looking at the Daniel Crenshaw video on Joe Rogan. Daniel Crenshaw went on Rogan again. Oh no, no, no. Twitch.tv/Hasanabi. I'm not gonna have a heated gamer moment. It doesn't matter, but here.
Well, there's a suspicion. Like people
He's
have
talking about vaccine
about the
passports.
Like, there's a lot
here.
of people that don't want to get the vaccine because they're worried about the government. That's also that exists in minority communities and in more poor communities. What are your thoughts about this vaccine passport concept? Because a lot of people find that deeply problematic, giving the government this ability to let people travel or not travel based on whether or not you've been vaccinated.
The left cannot let go of COVID. They can't let go of it. They want it around. They want to keep spending money based on this sort of moral stance that we need to keep supporting communities because of COVID, and that we need to keep doing things and taking excessive action because of COVID. They cannot let it go. Because they love collectivism and they love centralized control of the economy and society. I recall a definition we were looking at earlier, which sort of
sounds
indicates
like
that.
Yeah, I think passports in general is fascism too. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a libertarian, and I think that anything that documents movement is fascism. Like, they're doing fascism in South Korea when they do contact tracing. It's literally fascism. They did fascism in Australia and New Zealand when they were doing contact tracing. Like, these are all fucking fascist things that happen. It's great. Yeah, not even fucking vaccine passports. I think just any kind of passport is fascism. Yeah, driver's licenses, fascism. Duh.
I always distinguish between liberals and progressives on this one. Okay, I think there is there should be an alliance between real liberals and conservatives in the future, and that's
like
how
what
we're
Hitler
gonna solve
did was wrong only because he wanted to do vaccine passports. That's how it works. Like all the other stuff, the nationalism stuff is whatever. Don't worry about that shit. He very famously was criticized for wanting to implement, contact tracing measures and also vaccine passports.
problems. I talk to Brett Weinstein all the time.
Weinstein. If you talk to him all the time, you know his fucking last name.
Oh, Jesus. Well, that may be
Harvey
bad.
Weinstein. Brett Weinstein.
All right. Anyway, I think
nice straw man, dick brain. Yes, a straw man is when you literally fucking recount exactly the idiotic argument that your side just said. A straw man is when you're upset that your argument on your side is so fucking stupid that it must be someone just grossly depicting it or making it seem a lot dumber than it actually is.
Anyway, he's like, I'm a hardcore liberal. He's like,
my favorite thing, hold on, last thing I'm gonna say. My favorite thing is when someone literally says something is a straw man when it's not a straw man, because you're basically admitting that the argument is so fucking dumb that it must be a straw man. Like, great.
Like, I'm a radical liberal, and we just agree on so many things because he's a classical liberal. And if you're going to describe yourself as liberal, you mean in the classical sense in most cases. And you want nice things. You have the sense of compassion, and you want nice things for people. Maybe it's healthcare. Maybe it's to take care of people when they've fallen on hard times. These are good things. These are not bad things. These are not things that conservatives even disagree with. We generally have a different philosophy on how to find solutions for those problems.
I don't know about that.
That's the center, I guess. If we're always like grasping for the center, which a lot of people are, and I always kind of question, like,
conservatives totally were on board with helping people in need. Totally.
Mean by that, but maybe that's the right way to look at it. Liberals are good at having enough empathy and compassion to see what might need to be changed. Conservatives are good at finding the solutions for that change that maintains the good things that got us here in the first place. You can't burn down all the foundations of a society just because you're not at utopia yet. Remember, utopia is defined as, in Greek, as being nowhere.
Dude, this guy's my favorite, dude. How can I hate Daniel Crenshaw? He is literally the absolute fucking moron's idea of like an intellectual person. Like, Webster's dictionary defines utopia as anything I do like. Webster's dictionary defines fascism as anything I don't. Therefore, like, he's literally doing the fucking, I have no other thing to talk about, so I'm going to write out my high school essay and pad it out with like dumbass fucking takes. It's great. It's great. He is like a child in high school who procrastinated until the last moment, and he's just padding his fucking essay right now.
And you'll always burn things down to grasp for that. You can't get to that point. So I think that's the right alliance. I kind of forgot what the initial question was, though.
Well, it's all. Well, you're talking about the difference between a classical liberal. Well, when you say classical liberal, I always think you're trying to like pretend you're liberal when you're really a conservative. Like, cause
even fucking, even my main ape here is totally on the ball here. Like, he is literally right. Joe Rogan is 100% true here. He gets it. And he knows plenty of these classical liberals, right? Like fucking Dave Rubin, like, great example of this. He's 100% correct.
There's a lot of people that use that term classical liberal, and it's like, well, what do you believe? Like, it's like things get sneaky. I think there's a real problem with definitions. There's a real problem with like
you got to focus on the definitions.
What Chris Rock was saying though about like gangs, like that you have like I'm a conservative and I believe you have these predetermined patterns of behavior that people subscribe to without any independent thinking, without any objective thinking. And it's a real problem with human beings. Like, I think ultimately what everybody wants is what's good for the community. What they want for themselves selfishly, but they also want for their friends and neighbors and loved ones and family members. They want what's good for everybody, but they can't agree in what is good for everybody. And then when people don't have, they look at people who do have, and they go, well, how the fuck do they have? And then some grifter will come along and they have because they've taken from you. And that therein lies the problem. Because if you're not educated, or if you haven't like deeply researched the ideas, especially with an objective perspective, you can sort of believe a lot of these grifters, a lot of these people that come along and they say crazy shit like tax the rich or eat the rich, and like, oh Jesus Christ, how did they get rich?
You would not.
Joe Rogan talking about like grifting or populism is always going to be hilarious because he's literally like,
Did they get rich from stealing, or did they get rich from discipline and hard work and decades in the trenches?
So
because you're dealing with two very different things.
Well, classically liberal philosophy would ask that question because there's a sense of justice involved with any question, and that sense of justice is, did somebody infringe on your rights? And what are rights? Well, life, liberty, property, generally speaking, in the classical sense. Now you can go further back in time before.
just analyze fucking classical liberal ideology for a second, and you'll realize like how fucking stupid. It's like life, I get liberty, I get property. What the fuck? Like what? How is that the third most important thing, dude? I'm sorry. I find it so weird. It's like life, liberty, and then fucking property out of nowhere. You're like, what? Like, why isn't it, I don't know, happiness? Even if you want to think about it from like a purely theoretical standpoint. He literally thinks that is what people mean when they say prosperity in that sentence. Yeah.
Or classic Enlightenment principles came about in the 18th century. But then you're dealing with feudalism. Then you're dealing with tribalism. Then you're dealing with what I think a lot on the left want to bring us back to, this sort of subjugating people into different identities and hierarchies based on those identities. That's a really bad place to be. They want to bring us back to that moment in history. What the Enlightenment period did was say, look, you can keep dividing people up all day long. Eventually, you just get to an individual. So maybe we should look at how individuals act and then have a...
You need some form of general personal property to exist comfortably? Yes, but when classical liberals mean property, they don't mean personal property. When classical liberals are talking about property as one of the most important things to defend and protect, they're talking about private property. They're talking about the exploitative nature of private property as a generally defensible position. Like, they're talking about fucking enclosures and the importance of defending natural resources from others who would require it to live and survive. I say, and maybe I'm too idealistic, but I think personal property is, of course, a necessity for survival. I don't have a problem with that at all. But I say that, for example, resources such as water or resources that we all should be able to utilize, resources that are necessary for survival, like shelter even, should be, at the very least, provided by the government for those who need it and can't achieve it and can't get it. Otherwise, what's the fucking point of living in a society? What's the point of living in a collective? What's the point of living in fucking cities? Like, it makes no sense. He literally explains why leftists hate conservatives and says this is what the left is saying. Yeah. Again, there's a difference between personal property and private property. Like, communism is not when fucking your toothbrush is taken from you by another person. Okay? A lot of people misunderstand the difference between personal property and private property. Private property is something that accumulates wealth for you, okay? Like a house that you own that you rent out. Whereas personal property is a house that you own that no one can fucking enter. It's your house. It's just that you're using it. You're not like making money off of the existence of that capital. You're not accumulating capital by just having it be under your ownership. Anyway, why is no one talking about Rogan? Yeah, okay.
Have a really rational structure about
Yes, a summer house would be personal property. Yes.
how we define incentives and how we define justice. And justice should be defined as somebody infringing, person A infringing on the rights of person B.
Yes.
Or person A, making it in a hierarchy for unworthy reasons, something other than a meritocracy. That would be an injustice.
Now, I know you said that the left is fascinated by COVID or obsessed with COVID, but we didn't really cover it. Like, what do you think
that was
about
the original question.
COVID
I got really
passport?
philosophical, and
No,
then
it's okay.
That was the original question.
Well, what do you
well,
think
it's
about-
obviously a bad idea. It's not, and it's obviously a bad idea because like and a lot of the well-intentioned people on the left they're well-intentioned, but they do tend to live like they're still in grad school. And I know because I went to Harvard in a policy school. I went to the Harvard Kennedy School after the military. And there's an infatuation with being able to design the perfect policy on paper. Now, that's the first step, of course. Now, the second step is how do you implement it? And also, again, whose rights are you infringing on when you implement these things? These are the questions they don't ask. This is what it.
Yeah, people are never thinking about whose rights are being infringed upon when implementing policy. This is so stupid, dude. How are you a fucking policymaker, you fucking moron? I don't understand this take at all. Listen, all laws, if you're going to look at it from a fucking libertarian point of view, all laws technically infringe on people's personal liberties. If they want to do fucking, unregulated murder, well, murder being a crime, all of a sudden infringes on your personal interest in doing murder. It's just every law that's passed is supposed to weigh the cons against the pros, okay? This notion that like leftists are so idealistic is even on its face not necessarily a bad thing. Like what? Just because it's hard to achieve a perfect society doesn't mean we should not strive towards it. Probably one of the only conservatives in his cohort. Now he's salty.
Conservative always asks. Again, when I talk about how to solve problems through a framework of limiting principles, this is what I mean. You have to ask these questions. And so what is the practicality of this? And it's not practical at all, frankly. Depending on what they mean by a COVID passport. Also, I mean, maybe we should define that first. But it's one thing to ask people like, hey, I don't know, wear a green bracelet.
Bro, this is so boring. Like, this is why I always say liberals think like Dan Crenshaw is a threat. He's not. He's literally not a threat because no conservative is going to be entertained by him. Like, while he does look kind of cool, he does look like fucking Nick Fury or some shit. He is basically the Pete Buttigieg of the right. And therefore, no real conservative is going to look at a guy like this and be like, oh, I'm entertained, brother. Give it to me. No, they need like a fucking dancing monkey to keep their attention. They need someone not to endlessly pontificate on the fucking theories behind the wonderful opinions of classical liberals, which are like liberals, but at a time when people own fucking slaves. You know what I mean? It's not that. That's not going to be enough. Like, they don't want that. They want like straight up fucking mainlined heroin, black tar shit. Okay. They want Dan Crenshaw to turn around and be like, brother, I killed Iraqis and I'll do it again. I'll kill liberals like I killed Iraqis. Then they'd be like, yeehaw, I'm voting for this fucking guy. You know, they want the wrestler guy exactly in Texas. He's too fucking boring and like tries to appeal to a sense of like intellectual liberalism. There is a fucking enlightened centrist out there that's going to be like, well, Daniel Crenshaw, sir, you have swayed me with your argument. Like, that's not how fucking Republicans are.
If you already got the vaccine and you've already had COVID or both, either or.
But it's not that. It's like limiting your ability to travel,
which is an excessive.
I have to respectfully disagree. I grew up around majority conservatives, and they literally love him and want him to run for president. Yeah, the majority conservatives you grew up around are fucking wealthy conservatives, and like the conservatives that are conservative because they fucking like the tax breaks and the deregulation that comes along with it. They're not like the culture war conservatives, which makes up a large percentage of the fucking base of actual conservative voters.